This is the difference between two squares and GCF. So this was my original problem, and then I multiplied it by 2 to get this, and 98x squared minus 18. And then the greatest common factor is 2, so then you'd have 2, and then in parentheses the original equation, which was 49x squared minus 9. And since 7 times 7 is 49, which is a perfect square, you'll get 7x in both of the equations. And then 3 times 3 is a perfect square, but since it's negative, one of the signs has to be a negative, so you'll have 7x plus 3 and then 7x minus 3, and all multiplied by 2 to get the GCF.
Doing the trinomial square, the trinomial square must have at least 2 squares. My problem is 9x squared plus 12x plus 4, and you see in the problem there's like a square right there at the first part and a square right there in this last part. So to solve it, I have to find factors of 9x squared, which is just 3 and 3, and then for 4, I have to find factors of 4, which is 2 times 2. So I took both of these and added it together, so 3x plus 2 squared. And I picked a random number for GCF. I picked a number 3, so I multiplied it and I got 27x squared plus 36x plus 12. And the greatest common factor would be 3. So I just took out 3 and then I multiplied by 3x plus 2 to get 9x plus 6 and then 3x plus 2. And then I FOILed it to get 27x squared plus 18x plus 18x plus 12, which originally ends with 27x squared plus 36x plus 12.
So b squared plus 4b plus 4 is the original equation, and to make that a GCF, you'd multiply it by 3, and you'd get 3b squared plus 12b plus 12, and you could factor that back after if you don't multiply it by 3. And then you have to find out what makes b squared and factors that add up to 4 plus 4, which would be b squared, b plus 2 and b plus 2, and times 3 would get you this equation.
So I did grouping and greatest common factor, and the original problem I found was 8x squared plus 65x and then plus 8. So then for grouping you must multiply a and c, and 8 times 8 is 64. So I had to find numbers that multiply to get 64, and that was 1 times 64, 2 times 34, 4 times 16. But then we also have to find one that adds up to 65, and that was 64 times 1. So I found that 1 and 64 add up to get 65, so we get 8x squared plus 1x plus 64x plus 8. Then we can find the greatest common factor of both quantities. So then we have the greatest common factor of 8x squared plus 1x is x, and it factors out to get 8x plus 1. And the greatest common factor of 64x plus 8 is 8, and then we get 8x plus 1. And since both have 8x plus 1, we can combine them, and then we have to add the 2 on the outside. So we get 8 plus x times 8x plus 1. And then we check our work, and it equals out to the top.